Something, and there's Christine. This is great. This is a hot topic, isn't it?
Yes.
And Heidi. Perfect. Hey, girl. And let's see, here comes Lori. So I'm just admitting you guys all into the call. So that's why I'm calling everybody's name out. It's a happy Monday.
Yes.
Right. It's Monday. It's really gloomy here in Wisconsin.
Oh,
It's
sunny
really-
every day.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's just the way it is. It's that time of the year where they say April showers bring May flowers. I think we're going to have a lot of flowers because we've had a lot of rain.
no, we haven't. We need rain and snow so bad out here. We didn't hardly have any snow, and
Oh, wow.
it's so dry here in the Southwest.
Oh, is it? Yeah, we're a little bit low too, but I'm kind of like ready for it to stop. Oh, awesome. Look at Lori's in her car. She's connecting. There's Jody. Perfect. Yeah, this will be this is a really good topic. So I want you guys to participate in all of this too. So what I'm going to do, I'll be still admitting people in, but I'm going to share my screen here because
Can you check
here we
that? Ray?
go. Oh, let's see.
It should be done.
Here we go. So I'm sharing this. I will share this with all of you as well. I'll just, I'll put it in a couple places. I'll put it in Trainerize in your messages, but I'll also put it in the group. So I'll put it in the Elite Ladies group as well.
Okay.
And with a replay too in the comments. So anyway, and then as people come in, I will be admitting them as well. So if I stop talking or whatever, that's what I'm doing. So you guys can all see that. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So it's really all things meal and food prep I wanted to touch on. And like I said, I want your feedback as well. So I'll ask questions, but I'm in a lot of this I've covered probably, but we're going to talk specifically about popular ways to meal prep, maybe what you guys do, what you absolutely should be doing and in order to be successful. And it's a learning process to you guys. I don't expect you to, know everything all at one time. It takes a while. And I remember when I first started, it takes a while. And so just be patient with yourself, ask questions. You're not going to do anything wrong. It's, you're not going to kill anybody. So just be real patient with yourself. So the first thing that I want to tell you is, especially if you're going to be in your car, going to work, you maybe have to stop after work to pick some things up. You're doing some errands. Maybe you travel quite a bit. Maybe your job requires you to go home to home, those kinds of things. So the first thing is purchase a cooler and some ice packs that you can use for traveling, or just like I said, when you're in the car. The reason being, you can always keep water in there, right? And I put a link, and like I said, I'll give you this document. I put a link to one that you can get through Amazon, and it has a place where you can stack different containers and, bottles and things like that. It's not very expensive. You may already have something that you can use at home, not a problem. You don't have to use their special containers. You can use whatever you have and put them in this cooler. Now, you can do big coolers too if you're going to be gone for a long, several days and that kind of stuff. Use hotel, refrigerators, that kind of thing. But this would be more for, maybe storing 2 to 3 meals, maybe a couple snacks. So it's not like it's this great big huge thing with all these containers. And when you search on Amazon, you can get there's a ton of them available. But this one I thought would be really, I think it's around $30 or so. It'll come right to your door, and it already has the ice packs. You just have to freeze them and things like that. The other thing is you must plan ahead. yes, will you get caught a day where you're off, you didn't plan it because your day fell apart or an emergency happened? Very, very different. And not everybody has an emergency every single day, thank goodness. But so you must plan ahead for whether it's 3 days, whether it's 2 days, whether it's 5, 7, it's really dependent basically on you. Whatever you decide, however many days you want to plan ahead is up to you. There's no right or wrong at all. Just think about what your week might look like. So if you work from home, it's, you still want to plan, because as you know, even though you work from home, you might be sitting at the computer for 4 hours and you don't even realize it because you're so engrossed in what you're doing. So always plan ahead and have your food and snacks. You kind of have an idea what you're going to do. So there are a few popular ways to meal prep, food prep. So we can go over those, but make ahead meals. So this would be things that you're fully cooking ahead of time. So, and you can reheat it. Would be like a casserole. I mean, obviously you'd have to know what's protein, carbs, and fats in that casserole, but using your crock pot, your instant pot, those kinds of things where you have, maybe chicken and vegetables already in either a crock pot or instant pot, right? Everything is already, your meal is planned. You can have it a couple, you can eat several meals a day out of that, depending on if you're cooking for yourself or your family. So the other one is batch cooking. And I tend to do a lot of batch cooking. So large batches of specific foods, not necessarily recipes. And then you can freeze them. You can, then you can use them over a couple months, or you can use them like that whole rest of that week. And that's really handy because you'll have everything is planned out for you, but you did it in a bigger batch, so you don't have to think about it for a couple days. And that's how I do it. That doesn't mean that you guys have to do it that way. So sometimes depending on my week, I'll plan 3 days to 5 to sometimes 7. Some things will last longer. Like if I'm cutting up a whole bunch of vegetables and I have fruits, typically it's a good 5 days, just depending. And that's pretty good. That gets me to, then I can maybe do another batch if I want. And I kind of toggle, but I really do batch cooking most of the time. The other one is individually portioned meals. So what you really do is you're kind of batch cooking, but then you're separating them out into your proteins, carbs, and fats, your proteins, carbs, and fats. And so maybe you have 2 or 3 meals, and then you can take those to go. You put them in your cooler and off to work you go. So, and you can use them for the next, few days. So when I was a nurse manager, I would have my cooler. I'd have all, typically I would eat on my way or eat something before, and then I'd have 2 snacks and a meal in my cooler. And I did that every single day, Monday through Friday, and it really helped me out because there were times I'd have to grab my meal and I'd eat it during the meeting. I didn't care. I'm just going to eat during the meeting. And a lot of people did, but you had that. Otherwise, what happens, and you guys know this, when you go to work and you don't eat, you come home and then what? You eat everything that's in sight. And I always say you eat things they're not nailed down to the floor or the table, right? You just, because your blood sugars are low, you're crabby, and all you want to do is eat. So having that all prepared and ready to go is really, really important, especially if you do work outside of the house. Take it to meetings, people would make fun of me carrying my cooler in and asking if I had like my pet cat and my dog with me, but who cares? I laugh with them, and you're the one that's going to be feeling really good when you are eating, and your blood sugar is going to maintain that nice level. So the other way, ready to cook ingredients, where you're prepping ingredients for specific meal times ahead so that you're not in the kitchen. So ready to cook ingredients would be, maybe you have all your vegetables chopped up, you have your fruits ready to go, and you're going to throw a salad together last minute. You put your spinach or whatever, your lettuce, and then you're putting your your veggies on top and all that, but you're measuring it as you go, but everything is ready to go. Let's say you batch cooked a whole bunch of chicken breasts. That's when you weigh it and you put it on top of your spinach that you weighed out. And then that's your meal for that day. The ready to cook ingredients is kind of fun too. So some ideas and some examples for that would be, I'll take a Ziploc bag, and I'll add some of these things here before I send this out so you have these examples. I'll take like chicken breasts, I'll marinate them in a Ziploc bag. So I'll put a little bit of like olive oil, and then I'll season it. I'll put the sea salt, and I'll do pepper. I'll put like kickin' chicken, which is my favorite for seasoning chicken. You can put garlic, all of that. And then you shake that bag. I always labeled mine chicken with, Italian seasoning. So I knew exactly what it was, and I'll set it in the refrigerator. Then I will eat it and make it the next day, like in the Instant Pot or in the air fryer or something like that. Boom, it's ready to go, right? So those are kind of like those ready to cook things that you have. Like I'll even cut up vegetables and do the same thing. Put it in a Ziploc bag, season it all up, and I'll just have like chicken and cauliflower and whatever I'm going to eat that week. And then it's more fresh, if you will. You don't have to microwave it and do all of that. So there's so many different ways to do it, and you have to find what works for you. One way, my way, or Jen's way, or Jody's way isn't everybody's way. You'll find what works for you, and you will find that. Just try it out a couple different ways and see what works best for you. And like for me, it's a little bit multiple, like, depending on my week, but my batch and my ready to cook and that kind of stuff is kind of my go-to. So does that make sense? Does that give you some ideas that kind of helpful? But the biggest thing is look at your week and go, okay, what do I have planned? Am I leaving the house? What are my appointments? And another thing too, and this will come up in the travel section here, have like, and I know depending on where you live and the temperatures and things like that, I always have water in my car, and I always have a couple protein bars, almonds, that kind of stuff, just for that, just in case the doctor appointment went an hour longer, and then you have to stop and at the bank, and then you got this and you got that, and you're gone an hour or so longer and you're starving. At least you have something that you can go to so that your blood sugar stays as even as you possibly can. Obviously you're going to account for that, but it's going to prevent you from wanting through McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or Culver's or those kinds of places, or getting home and then grabbing the bag of chips because it's there. That's just what we do as humans. We're hungry, right? So, planning ahead is super, super important. So here's a few steps to being successful. Kind of select that method of choice. And like I said, like here, it says it could be a combination of different methods. And it's really going to be based on your lifestyle. Are you at home? Are you not at home? Is it a combination of both? Take into consideration any travel time. If you're traveling, a ways, a long time to get to work and on the way back too. Or even just after the gym. It's so nice just to have a protein shake after you work out, if you're driving around. I guess what I was trying to say, I did say it, is to have like I call it my protein emergency. Like you have a first aid kit, it's like your protein emergency kit in your car. Stick to a schedule, pick a day each week to do kind of that meal planning, get your groceries and cook. I tend to do it on Sundays. It just works so much better in my schedule. But I've also, if I'm traveling and I don't get home, I just have to do it a different day. And, it carve out, and you guys will get better at it. Right now, I have a really good system because I've been doing it for a long period of time, but sometimes it only takes me an hour to an hour and a half to do it. And a lot of that is just stuff's cooking, like out something in the Instant Pot, something's going in the air fryer, something's in the oven, and I might have like brown rice on the stove, and then you're just kind of bebopping around and you have all this stuff then when you're done. So, and your meals too, and then we'll talk about going out, the number of meals that you're going to be eating, and to think about that. It doesn't have to, you guys are following calories and some of you are doing your macros and things like that, but take those calories and divide it up between how many times you normally eat a day. And then you're going to know exactly what that looks like. Recipes, stick to things that you already know and keep it simple. So like the 28-day power foods recipes, those are pretty simple and basic. It's just going to use what's on that list. I tend to eat the same breakfast pretty much every day. It's just, and I have a salad every day. So I know that's pretty simple. It varies that on the weekends when I don't have a lot going on, or it's a little bit wider open. It changes up a little bit. Sometimes my breakfast, snack, and lunch is pretty much the same. My afternoon snack is, I guess that's pretty the same, but sometimes I'll change up my dinner because because I can do that. And you guys would find the same. Maybe your breakfast is your change up meal, and you'll find what that is for you. So don't go like, oh, I've got to make this big recipe and this and that. Keep it so simple. It's just, it's going to help you in the long run. Don't make it bland. If you're having chicken, season the crap out of it. Make it good. And use what, herbs and spices and all of that. Use whatever those flavors that you like. Make your grocery list up ahead of time. You can shop for groceries online. A lot of places now you can order groceries for pickup, so you don't have to spend all that time in the store. I love doing that. I don't have, sometimes if they don't pick the right things, if you're really picky and choosy, you may want to go in the store. But it's really handy to do the pickup. We're getting to be kind of a lazy society. We have somebody else do our grocery shopping, and then we just go pick it up. But sometimes the time it kind of comes back to you. You get that time to do other things. So, and then once you go do your meal planning and prep, you're not going to be in the kitchen every single day doing something because you're already prepped ahead of time. Unless you're Jody and you like to be in the kitchen all the time and making all kinds of fun recipes that are healthy. And then of course, when you're storing your meals, make sure that you're not refrigerating things forever and then, eating them like 14 days later or something like that. Make sure you just eat the foods that you prepare. And we spend a lot of money on our food, right? All the time, but even more so now. So I tend to use the BPA free containers. I try not to do a ton of microwaving. If I do, it's going to be in a glass dish. Just be mindful of those kinds of things too. So, and then freezing, just when you freeze it, I think it's the best. Like just make sure you label it so you know what's in it. So hopefully that's help. I'll put some, before I post this and give this to you, I'll put just some examples of what I do that can be really helpful. And also you guys too, this is a learning curve for many of you. You certainly are more than welcome to ask questions in the Elite Ladies group, because some of these ladies have been doing this for a while and can really help you out. And they will too. If I'm not in there answering right away, they will help you out too. So don't ever be feel afraid of asking, because we've all been there and we want to help you and help you out so that you're successful. And then it starts to just become a habit that you get into. I put together also this food list for traveling. Now, if you're on the 28-day power foods list, just be mindful of this. But if you are traveling, it's really not easy to stay just on that list. So don't be afraid if you go off it, because you're not gonna hurt yourself. The reason for that list is to just help you kind of feel and understand what foods may disagree with you, but then again, maybe none of them will disagree with you. And it's more about, let's see if we can cut down the bloating and the inflammation and all those things. And so if you are traveling and or if you're struggling with getting your calories and stuff in, these are some other options for you too, especially if you're on the go. But like cheese sticks, those mozzarella sticks are really good. It's a fat, it's not a lot of fat, has some protein in it, and it will help fill you up, if you will. Peanut butter, you can put on fruit, like apples and bananas. And then peanut butter, and the MBB is almond butter. Let's do that. and you can get those in even small packets for travel too, that you can just dip things in. And then that's just, versus in a whole big entire jar, especially if you are going somewhere you don't want to have a jar of stuff. And then almond butter, fruit in berries, apples, bananas, veggies, just cut those up and take them with you. Almonds or any kind of nuts, honestly, that you like. Almonds and typically walnuts, Brazil nuts. Now peanuts are okay. They just have there's nothing wrong with them. There's a lot more allergies associated with them. But almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts are my go-tos. And then the natural protein bars, and what I mean by natural, the Luna and the RX bars, they come in different flavors. They have real food. So they're not as processed as like a Quest bar, nothing wrong with them, or any of the other protein bars. They just don't have as much of the hydrogenated this and some of the things that you can't pronounce in it. More
Diana,
processed.
the Lar bars are good too.
Oh, that's what I meant. Lara, not Luna. I don't know. It's a dog's name that I'm familiar with. That's why I put it there. The Lara. Yes. Yeah. Those two. Those are the ones those are kind of like my go-to. If the RX bars are like a fruit, a nut, and a protein. And protein is usually egg whites. So it's just a little bit, I think, easier on the stomach too, because some of those other protein bars can be really harsh and produce a lot of gas. So just be mindful of that. You can take a protein powder, you can mix it with water in a shaker bottle. Works, I mean, especially if you're on the go. Tuna packets, those tuna pouches. Also, you can get the salmon packets too. Those are great. You can just take a fork. I have plastic forks in my car, napkins. I'll just eat that on the go. Tuna, you can mix that with some avocado and shredded chicken, and you can eat that stuff alone. Like I'll take shredded chicken. Grilled chicken cut up is really good. I'll just like put it in a container and I'll just eat that. And I eat in my car. I eat cold food. Doesn't mean you have to. It's just what you're doing and what your lifestyle is like. Greek yogurt is something, and of course you want to make sure you have it refrigerated too. You can take Greek yogurt like a plain vanilla and you could sprinkle a protein powder in it. So when I say sprinkle, I'm not saying add the whole scoop, but maybe like a quarter of a scoop or even half a scoop, because what it does is it just makes that Greek yogurt, gives it a flavor kind of like a pudding. Really tasty. Vanilla, chocolate, and I tend to do chocolate, but the vanilla tastes good in that. That's a really good, and then if you want to add fruit to it, that's a really good snack. Hard-boiled eggs is another one to take along, and I just peel mine before I go so that I can just eat it. Otherwise, it's really, if you've ever done it, it's really hard to peel an egg and drive at the same time. I've done it, not a good idea. So I peel mine before I go. You can prepare a few salads to go with you, your fruit, put a tuna packet on top, all your vegetables, whatever, you want to eat. Smoothies, you can make those ahead of time. You could even put them in the freezer and pull them out. So that's another thing that you can just take on the go on your way to work, whatever. I like shredded chicken. I like cut up grilled chicken. I like rice and veggies, and you use those as your prepared meals and you could even just do grilled chicken or plain chicken or whatever with vegetables too, depending on where you're at with your carbs. And I use rice just because it's so simple, but you can do sweet potatoes, squash, and all that kind of stuff. So sweet potato fries in the air fryer are to die for. That is a really quick, put that in a container with grilled chicken, and oh my gosh, that is so good. I'm very much a very simple planner when it comes to meals. If I go more elaborate in recipes, it's going to be at a time that works better for me, which is more on the weekends than during the week. So I keep it really simple. I eat a lot of the same foods. I just season it a little bit different. Some weeks I'll pick a couple vegetables. I'll maybe do like this week it's cauliflower, asparagus, and green beans, most of it. But then like last week I had Brussels sprouts. I'll do beets. And so even if you just have a few vegetables that you can eat most of the week, is, you know, it just keeps it simple and so easy to do. Let's see, if you're planning to eat out. So I know this comes up a lot and I want you guys to eat out. Remember, I tell you all 80-20, 80%, I want you to just stick with what you need to do. And the other 20%, you have to live your life. So that means going out, it means having wine, that means whatever it is that makes you happy and that keeps you social and engaged with friends and family and not feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to stick to this meal plan. When I said plan ahead, that's what I mean too. Most of us know if we're going to be going out with friends, or we're going. Now, yes, sometimes it comes as a surprise, right? Hey, you know, your friend called, hey, you want to go out for a glass of wine? And you know what? You can do that. Or you're going to go out for a meal. Just be really mindful that you're not eating this great big large meal, and keep in mind where you're at with your macros and stuff like that. But it's one meal. It's not, you're not going to gain 5 pounds from it, right? If you do put on a pound, it's probably just inflammation because there was too much salt, you had some alcohol, you didn't sleep well, or whatever it might be. So just also don't fret if it does happen. So when you plan to eat out, you know, you can select a meal that you can kind of guess at what those macros are going to be, right? So let's say you're going out to dinner, and there might be salmon, there could be chicken, there's probably rice and a vegetable. Pretty easy to do, right? The thing that gets you kind of caught off track would be having a little bit more than that, an appetizer, and then a glass of wine, and then dessert. That might put you over the edge, and you might not feel so good, you know, stomach wise the next day. But it's easier to track those meals too, and you'll know what, because you're not planning the meal, so you don't know what they're using. Typically in restaurants, they use a lot more oils, a lot more sodium, and not the oils like the avocado oil or the olive oil. They're just going to use a vegetable oil, right? So, and because they're making meals for everybody. So I thought this was kind of cool. These are some tougher to track meals. So like if you go and let's say you're going, I don't know, Olive Garden, and just saw pasta, and Olive Garden, you know, the pasta, and then they have all this stuff. Well, you can't account for that. How are you going to measure that? You can guess, but probably really difficult. Burritos with a lot of ingredients, cheese and sauces and all that. Soups. Is another one that's tough if you're not making it yourself. Chicken salad, tuna salad, anything that has, you know, that kind of like a creamy or mayonnaise texture. And then you're deep fried, like onion rings and chicken tenders and fish and chips. So you go out, well, I'm from Wisconsin, so we have these Friday night fish fries, really hard to, you know, track that unless you have maybe broiled fish and a salad and something a little bit different. But anything that's deep fried and breaded would be really hard to track. But then your easier meals would be your salads, keep the dressing on the side, and then your grilled or raw proteins like chicken, salmon, tuna, that kind of thing. Wraps or burgers or sandwiches with sauce on the side. And a lot of times if you go somewhere, you can be specific about what you want on it. You're paying for it. There's no reason why you can't ask. And then like I was talking about, kind of your standard dinner with the protein, vegetable, and the grain, you know, like asparagus or something like that. Fajitas are not a bad if you like Mexican, because you know it usually has peppers and onions and some type of protein. And then be really mindful of the tortillas. If you're going to do tortillas, do corn. but take into consideration, you know, how many of those, or you don't at all. So if I have a fajita, I don't have that. But I know that the fajitas in those restaurants use a lot of oils. So you have to be really careful with that. And then like your breakfast omelets, you know, breakfast meat and toast, you can pretty much gauge that kind of stuff too, unless you're having this great big scrambler that has potatoes and shredded cheese. And, you know, you guys know, that might not be as easy to track if you go out. So when you go out to a restaurant, a lot of times think about that ahead of time. So when I'm talking about planning ahead, pick kind of what you want before you leave. A lot of times that you may know the restaurant you're going to, we all have our favorites and you kind of know what you like. So think ahead a little bit about that. Don't eat the whole thing, take half of it home. And you can split it with a friend. Hey, you want half, I want half. I can't do that usually because my friends and I, we really like food, so we don't really split, we just take it home. Every restaurant likes to bring you bread, right? Whether it's bread and butter, bread and dip it in the oil, any breadstick, skip it. Just say no, thank you. Even though, you know, a lot of times I've been to restaurants too where they ask you if you want the bread or not. And keep your dressing and sauces on the side. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't fill yourself up completely. Don't, and part of what happens when you're out to eat too, sometimes you eat really fast and then you don't even realize how full you are. So just when you're talking and having conversation, chewing your food, all of that, just don't get super full. Skip dessert and alcohol. Not always easy to skip the alcohol for many of us. Just we grew up that way, right? But when you're planning ahead, you know, try and do that. Overestimate your macros. So plan on more than maybe you'll consume. And of course, avoid those deep fried pastries, cheesy, to all those kinds of bread bowls. It sounds like it's healthy and the restaurants will label it healthy, but when you eat the bread bowl or the taco shell, it's really not the best for you. And then eat whole, real, natural ingredients in balance, right? Sometimes what I do is I even eat a little something before so that I eat less when I'm out. So here's a way to plan ahead too that you guys may find helpful. So if you're planning on going out, you can, if you guys heard of intermittent fasting, really what that is skipping breakfast and eating kind of lighter throughout the day, so that when you don't go over in your macros or your calories when you go out, because you can plan ahead, but you know it's going to be higher just because you're not in charge of cooking, and they always add extra oils and just different things to those meals, and you don't know what's always in it. This is a really good one. Account for extra fats and oils in your restaurant meal by pre-logging the fat macros in your diary ahead. So consider adding 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of butter or oil, depending on what you plan to eat. So, you know, estimate larger because they do use that. And then, you know, just be prepared to have more calories at the restaurant. So eat lighter, especially the carbohydrates and the fats. The protein's not too bad, you know, when it comes to restaurants. And then here, emphasize protein and non-starchy vegetables in the meals that you eat throughout the day, because your restaurant foods will be higher in fats. It's just pretty normal for that. And you guys can think of restaurants you go to, and then, you know, it's just, you might feel a little bloated the next day, or, you know, a little, you know, because you're a little bit puffy, your hands are a little more puffy. It's just because of that. So you can also choose restaurants that have information online, right? They already tell you what's in it. A lot of times, MyFitnessPal, you can put like Chipotle and what's the other place? Anyway, Qdoba, those kinds of places. Well, you can search and they'll have all that broken down for you. So it's kind of helpful to look ahead, especially at the chain restaurants. If it's not a chain restaurant, you won't find it. So then you kind of do have to estimate a little bit putting that in. But also I wanted to point out here too, that don't let tracking macros stand in your way of eating restaurant meals. I don't want you to feel like you can't go out. Now, if you're going out 3 and 4 times a week, that's probably something we need to talk about a little bit there, because that could be stalling any progress that you're making. Just because you don't have control over the ingredients and you tend to eat a little bit more when you're out. But you shouldn't spend your life avoiding that, not going out, because you want to be social and enjoy the company you're with. And so don't get, like I said, and don't get too caught up on that, like that's something, the one time that somebody asks you to go out and you're like, I can't because of this. No, go out, just be mindful of what you're eating. So it's kind of that head brain talk. You just have to control yourself, enjoy yourself, but don't go gonzo, like crazy. So I hope this was somewhat helpful, you guys. I'll put a few more examples in here. I know that some of you are new. It's a learning curve. And Heidi and I are here to guide you through that. That's what we're here for. And I'll give this all to you. Like I said, I'll put some examples, but I'd like to, I'll stop sharing so I can see everybody. There you all are. Does anybody have any questions or comments about what they do or what they suggest? Or does anybody have any questions about anything? So maybe what I'll do is, maybe I'll call you out so everybody gets a chance to say something. I'll start with Lisa, because Lisa was, you just have to unmute yourself, Lisa, because I had to mute you earlier. It would be probably at the bottom of your phone. That's okay. Well, you know what? I'll just go to somebody else and then I'll come back to you. Okay. Jen, anything? Jen.
I was asking Heidi today about fish. I had made fish and I just wanted to know, like, if I was able to store it in the freezer, I wasn't sure about it. So,
Right.
and
Yes.
I try not to cook too much chicken in advance. Like maybe I'll do 2 days worth of chicken and I'll have chicken twice a day.
Uh-huh.
If I do like 3 by the third day, I'm like, oh, I will just make the chicken.
Right. Perfect. No, that's good. And if that works for you, that's great. That's perfectly fine. I know when it gets to be grilling weather here, I'll grill a ton of chicken because I eat it like crazy. Much easier to be able to do that. But yeah, and fish, honestly, I'll make like a 9 by 13 pan of fish. And I guess it depends on who's all eating it too. But that'll stay for a couple days. You just have to keep in the refrigerator. And heating it up sometimes isn't, the best, but I can just get my pan out and warm it up that way too. Pan on the stove. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, those are good protein sources too.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else?
I went out the other night. I had shrimp scampi, and normally it'll come with macaroni and stuff. And I'm like, no, can you do it over broccoli? They said, sure, no problem. Right. So I had it over broccoli.
Right. Yeah, that macaroni and cheese sounds good though. No, it's a good substitution. There's nothing wrong with asking. Most people will, like, a lot of stuff comes with French fries, right? It's okay to say, hey, can I substitute that with a side salad or, like a vegetable, like their vegetable of the day or something like that. That's perfect. Yeah. Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa, you found your unmute button.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What do you have for us?
Well, I haven't started counting my macros. I just started on the regular list of foods, not the 28-day power food. So I just went to the store today And I wasn't sure in my Fitness Pal, if I look at those macros, if I follow kind of those, try to make those my goals,
Sure.
That-
So
or
that's,
if the
yeah, that's a
macros.
great question. So we do calories for a while. And the reason why
Right.
we do calories for a while, just total calories, is to make sure that you're getting those calories in before we
Right.
have you start with the macros.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about that part?
Well, I need to start eating more. 'Cause
Okay.
I haven't, hard to eat that much. I
Right.
think with the new list of foods, I think I'm gonna be able to hit them a lot better,
Yes.
easier.
Yes.
It's just
So-
like I was eating a ton of chicken, ton of, the turkey, ground turkey, and I was just like, man,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
not even hitting it,
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing the amount of food that you need to eat, right?
Right.
And it's important because that's what's going to rev that metabolism up, and that's
Right.
what's going to burn the fat and all that kind of good stuff. So how
Yeah.
about and I'll talk Heidi's on too. What we'll do for you is let's just start. We'll get your protein goal in there.
Okay.
So we'll give you a protein gram goal along with just calories. So don't worry about the carbohydrates and the fats yet. We'll go a little, just because, you're just really starting on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Good.
we can do that. That's great.
Good. Yeah, and I think I need to just start meal planning better.
Yep.
Because I just get hit with something and it just throws me into a loop that it's hard to get back out of. And
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah. It's just planning ahead, and whatever day that works for you. It might be a Wednesday. You might go Wednesday to Sunday or something like that. And maybe it's just Wednesday through Friday to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm retired. I mean, I have no excuse.
But the more I talk to retired folks, sometimes they're the busiest. They got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Tell me
what?
about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. My mom too. I can't even get a hold of her. It's like, I don't know. It's a good thing though, right? Because the more active you
That's
are, right?
Yeah.
That's that whole brain and body. Oh, all of that.
Yeah. You have
No,
to
good
keep
for
it.
you. Good for you. That's okay. That's okay. You'll get it. It's coming.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're on the call. I'm glad you joined.
Yeah, me too.
Good. Good. All right. Let's go to Lori.
Hello there.
Hey.
I've of course had an experience, and it's coming up again, with traveling and eating, and how am I going to make this work? And it's a little tricky, but I've done meal prep ahead of time, and then I'm still on the calorie piece of it, not counting my macros. So I guess I would like to ask if you and Heidi could also maybe give me the protein, how much I should have.
Okay. Sure.
To help with that. And then I'll be heading to Chicago. So this is a real beneficial meeting for me. I'll be heading on Friday until Monday.
Okay.
But what I found is to try to cook foods ahead of time and then like freeze them in portions and baggies. That's what I did. And that way it's like just kind of a meal in a baggie type of thing, or a container. And that helped. I did go out to eat, and I thought I was doing so well ordering, the rice and shrimp, and then the shrimp was served with cheese sauce on it. And it was like, that wasn't in the menu. And she's like, well, I think it was. And I'm thinking, no, I know it wasn't.
Wow.
But yeah, so I caved and I just ate it because it looked good anyway. And, but yeah, I have been feeling much, much better with just those power foods and that list. So I thank you for that. I'm more energetic, and I don't fall off the cliff at between 1 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Isn't that interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I'm still feeling like I don't really quite know for sure. With the calories that are listed in My Fitness doesn't match calories in Trainerize.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's something I'm not doing right.
So now if you don't have the premium My Fitness Pal,
Oh,
There's a premium. You don't need it. The thing with that then is, okay, so let's say you have I just randomly choose 1400 calories just because it comes out that way. What you need to do then is you need to dial in, there'll be the macros. You dial it in until you get to the 1400. Kind of, you dial, yeah. And then because if we set in Trainerize, if I set you at 1400 calories, you still have to set your app. It doesn't talk back to it. So make sure you set
okay.
your MyFitnessPal. I don't have access to your app. All I see is what you put in. It's connected. So anytime we make an adjustment, you have to make an adjustment on your end.
Oh,
That makes
good
sense.
to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can talk to Heidi at some point too with understanding how to change things in there, because sometimes that's been kind of tricky for me
Okay.
as far as the amount.
Okay.
So would you recommend getting the premium on that for my
I like
fitness
it because it just takes that trying to finagle it a little bit easier. I don't know, what is it? Not $10 a month or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not very expensive. It's totally up to you. You don't need it, but then you just need to make sure you're actually playing with the macros, even though you don't have the macros, just to make sure your calories equal what we want you to have.
Well, you can always get the calories.
Yeah.
You can always get the calories to equal.
Yeah, you can. Right.
What you can't get is the percentages of the protein and the carbs to match exactly what you want. But you and I have worked through this for almost a year, and I've never, I'm usually, sometimes it's right on target and sometimes it's off a little on each one.
Right.
But so long as you're above it or below whatever it is, it's fine.
Yeah, it works out.
I didn't want to spend any more money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And, and it's totally your choice what you want to do with that. Yeah. The other thing, like what Pat said too, if it's not exact, it's okay, because also MyFitnessPal is an app, right? It's an electronic app. It's going to have your foods in it. So how do I explain it? It may not always match up exactly. So if we want you around 1400 calories, it might not never hit 1400. It might be 1406 or 1352, just because of the foods that as long as you can get within I always say 100 above or 100 below. Yeah, you're going to be okay. So don't stress about that number. I want you to be around that number. So if it's 14, I don't want you at 1800, and I don't want you at 1200. So I want you at either like 14 or 1500 or 1300 versus, So if that makes,
Yeah. I think yesterday I was having a hard time choosing like what else I could eat like last night, because it was giving me little messages about, too many carbs or whatever. And so I guess I don't know like how much protein and how much, or if I have to worry about that or.
Well, we wanted you to just make sure you got your calories in. So it didn't matter how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs, or how many grams of fat at that point. Just because once you get your calories in, then I know, okay, they can eat that much. So now Lori can eat 1400 calories without a problem. Now let's give her protein goal.
Right.
Okay.
So that and then let's do your carbs and let's do your fats. Because if you can't reach that calorie goal, there's no way you're going to be able to do the others, because it's going to be too stressful. So we want to make sure you can at least eat 1400 calories before we break that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want it like it's really about you guys learning a step-by-step approach, not just, we don't want to throw, if I would give you macros and protein and say, you'd be like, because especially if you've never done it before, right? So
exactly.
So we want to start with, because I can't tell you, there has been no woman that I've coached that has had to eat as much as they do, because we think that we don't need to eat much. We want to eat like a bird because we'll lose weight. That's not the case. You have to eat to fuel your body.
Right.
In order for you to get results. That was probably the biggest thing when I started. I was like, oh my God, I got to eat all that, really? Yes, you do. And so once you can hit that, whatever that goal is, no matter, you know, and you want to eat off the list, you don't want to fill, you know, 1,500 calories with Chick-fil-A, because that's like one meal, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Then you'd be starving the rest of the day. So you choose the foods off the list, whatever list you have, then we know, okay, she can get that 1,400, no problem. So let's give her protein goal. Once you know you can hit protein and calories, let's do these others. And then it's a process. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And thanks, Pat, for your comment too.
Yeah.
It just takes a bit of time. I had the same issue you're talking about when we first started, and I was bugging Diana all the time about it. And then we figured it out after a while, and now it's fine. You'll see. Just have to have a little patience.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're doing it. You guys are doing it, and you're asking questions, and we want you to ask questions because that's how you learn too. So no, I appreciate that. Good. I'm gonna, is that good, Lori?
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Good. Christine, brand spanking new Christine. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, day number 1.
It is.
Yes. How are you doing so far?
Pretty good. It's been a busy day and a stressful end of the day. I had a meal planned with a friend of mine. And then I realized I had some meetings that I had to do, so I couldn't do that. So I got home and was scrambling. But yeah, I did good. I had a piece of fish, so it went fine. But
okay.
But I was really hoping not to cook tonight.
Yeah, and it is like some of us may not want to cook, and that's why it's so important to do it kind of ahead of time. Then you don't have to worry about like the late night of the emergency call or the whatever comes about. So and remember, and all of you know, one day at a time, 1% better every day, all of that. Be patient with yourself. And kudos to you for jumping on your first day. Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And yeah. I know you probably don't know anything to ask because you just started, but you know how to reach us.
I do.
Yeah. So good. You had fish instead of what? A bag of Cheetos or something?
Thankfully, I don't even have that at home. But
oh, for sure. Oh my goodness. All right, Jody.
Normally what I do is I'll get, I don't want to say a bunch of chicken, but I'll buy a large pack of chicken breasts, the boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and then I'll cook it 3 different ways in the air fryer. I might do Cajun seasoning on a couple pieces, and when that's done, I'll throw in just poultry seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, or pink Himalayan salt, and pepper, and cook it that way. And then I'll actually put some in with nothing on it so that I can shred it and have it for breakfast without having garlic and salt, on it. I've been known to get ground chicken and cook that in the air fryer. And it's all ready, and I will fix enough of it at dinner time so that I have enough for the following day for lunch and maybe for dinner again the next day. That's my idea of meal prepping. That way I can have different vegetables with it. I can take a sweet potato and cut it into discs and roast it in the oven.
Oh yeah.
And that's one, it gets really buttery that way because it's crispy on the outside, but really soft on the inside.
Right.
The other thing that I use is I still buy the big jars of peanut butter, but the containers that they use for, not that I would know, Jell-O shots, You can get those at Dollar Tree and you get 10 or 12 of them with the lids for like $1 or $1.25. And I will put my peanut butter in that. It holds 2 tablespoons.
Ah,
Same thing with,
yeah, we know you like Jello shots. Come on.
well, I do. I haven't had one in forever. But yeah, just knowing that it holds 2 tablespoons. I put my salad dressings in it, and the Skinny Girl dressings, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing flavors, really low calorie, carbs, fat, the whole 9 yards. I don't know what they're flavoring it with, but 10 calories for 2 tablespoons.
Yeah, not
They're
bad.
amazing. And they come, what? If nobody's ever had them, there's, I think, buttermilk ranch. There's a poppy seed, a honey Dijon, and Italian.
Wow, nice.
And so you get all the flavor without all the extra, I don't want to say wasting the calories,
Right,
in
but
your
it makes
macros.
sense. Yeah, wow, good suggestions, huh, guys? Right, yeah, perfect. I wrote some of that down so I can put that in too, for you guys. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Pat, what you got for us?
Couple of things. I eat out a lot because I'm retired and old folks do that. It's their highlight of the week. And I told Diana from the beginning, I was not interested in a diet. I want to live life, and we've lost a lot of weight in inches together. So you can do that. You can live a normal, healthy life and still have fun. When I go out, I usually know where I'm going or have an idea, and I always look up the website if I don't know the restaurant and get an idea of what they have. And I know I'm going out, so from the day in the morning, I start to put in my FitnessPal what I'm going to eat for dinner. And it always includes my wine, and it may be 2 glasses of wine. So that, and I kind of backtrack and I know what I'm going to eat during the day before I get to the restaurant. So I may say to myself, well, I won't have bread this morning. I might have it at the restaurant. And then if I don't have the bread at the restaurant, whoopee, I've got extra carbs to play with. And that's where my second glass of wine might come in. So I don't find eating out really that difficult because, like she said, there's fish, and I don't cook a lot of fish at home, so I get fish, rice, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of good food in the restaurants. Just don't eat the pasta and all that. That's hard when you go to Italian.
Right.
But after a while, you get to know how much 1 cup of spaghetti is. It's not a lot.
Right. It's not.
So you get to know, and you just push the rest of it aside. And you say, oh, I'll take that home.
Right.
The other thing is I'm not a big meal prepper. I've tried that. I did it years and years ago when I worked. But I kind of do a little bit of like what Jody does. I'll make, it's so easy to boil chicken in a pan with a little bit of onion and carrot. And I might do that 2-3 times a week to have, like I'll have tonight, a salad with some boiled chicken. That I had. I'll just shred that up in the salad. And sometimes my hardest thing is having food ready. So it's not my thing to do all this meal prepping, but I do try. I listen to everybody, and I'll make a big bag of the roasted potatoes and those kinds of things. And I do find when you have them in the refrigerator, it's really great. However, you can get tired of eating the same thing. I like to eat the same thing. It doesn't usually bother me, but at dinner time, I do like to get a little variety. So I try to just every day say to myself, what are we having for dinner? Because I have to cook for my husband too. So I'll pull that out, and I know that I'm going to make it simple. I cook simple. I'm not, a gourmet cook.
Right.
So that's about what I do. But my question for you was, I had a lot of trouble getting in again. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. So I was coming in through the phone a couple of times and then through the computer. And I thought I heard you say something about microwaving.
Yeah.
You don't like microwaving?
Yeah, I try not to do a lot of that. I
don't mean to cook, to heat up.
Yeah, to heat up. I don't, yeah, I don't use it to cook, the microwave, no.
No, I don't either. I
Yeah.
just use it to heat up.
Yeah, yeah. And if
That's
I use
okay.
it, I use more of a glass container versus a plastic
Yeah.
container. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So my funny for the day is, I always got to leave you with a funny.
Yes.
I have some neighbors that are very elderly, way older than me, 90. 90 on Wednesday.
Oh my.
He and his wife, and she's 87. I haven't seen them in a while. And I saw them outside their place, so I stopped over after the gym. And I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Good God, Pat, how do you get in such good shape?" Can you imagine that at 90? He noticed.
Yeah.
He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, it's kind of that military stuff you did." I said, "I have this trainer who beats the crap out of me. She's got me on the floor doing all these.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that
I
as a
thought that was
compliment.
I thought that was pretty cool that an old geezer
Right.
noticed.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
cool. Aw. Well, there's
Can
a
I make
reason
a
why he's
suggestion?
90, right?
Huh?
There's a reason why he's living till 90.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing
Can I
he's
make a
alive.
suggestion?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jody.
Just for the newbies, I know over the years we've all been conditioned to have a big breakfast or a big lunch, that the 3 meals a day, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And through this process, in order to keep your blood sugar and your protein levels at an even keel, that's why you have to have your morning snacks and your afternoon snacks, and even allow, try to gauge in for an evening snack after. What I do is, honestly, I started cutting back on the size of my 3 main meals a day. And it feels like I'm eating all day long, but I'm finding I actually have extra. I'm content. I'm not hungry. I'm getting my water in. I'm pretty much eating, I'll eat my higher carbs in the morning. And by lunchtime, early afternoon, my snacks might end up being the lower carb vegetables, raw vegetables, as the day goes on. But I'm having smaller meals, but I'm still getting all of my macros and my calories in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm content. I'm not finding that I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that works for, anyone else.
I do a lot of that too. Mm-hmm.
So I just noticed that started working for me a lot better. So I just pack everything. I know ahead, like Pat, you start putting it in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to have all day long, and there's no surprises. That way you pack it and take it with you.
Right.
Well, I don't pack it and take it anywhere. I put it in the fitness pal.
What I do.
Yeah.
You're working, I'm not.
Yeah, and putting that stuff in ahead of time is really helpful because it's already in there and it's already done, and then you don't have to do it later. So
It's
yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah. Hey Heidi, I see that you're on. Did you want to say anything? There she is. You have to unmute yourself though.
I was going to say, I do a lot of what Jody and Pat are saying, because I don't go out to eat a lot, but when my kids are around, they always like to go. So I'll look ahead at where I'm going and what I can have. And I'm, as a lot of you know, I'm the bowl person. So I'm still just doing my rice and kale and protein in the middle of the day a lot, just because I am on the go, so I can easily make that ahead of time. I can make those things like for maybe 3 or 4 days of meals. And then what I find is when usually on that 4th day, it's always the busy day at work, and I'm home and it's 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 6, and I'm thinking about what to make. And so having even frozen chicken or a frozen piece of fish and throwing it in the air fryer only takes 15 minutes.
Right.
So
I gotta get it for you.
Yes.
I don't know how I would have done it without that thing.
I know. It's the lifesaver.
I put frozen everything in there.
Me too.
Really?
Yes, and it tastes like it's amazing.
Mhm.
So that's really been saving me. Yeah.
Good. No, those are great ideas. And the air fryer is so awesome. It just is. Oh man,
I gotta get one.
Yeah.
You can undercook your chicken in it too.
Yeah.
And then put it in there to finish cooking it the next day, and it's not rubbery.
Right. Right. It just keeps that moisture in there. So
You
good.
know, maybe some of you could post what air fryers you have,
Sure.
just so, I keep saying I'm gonna do it, but it's like another gadget. Oh,
I
Oh,
know.
you'll love it. Oh,
Can't live without it.
I bought mine and I'm not kidding. It was in my office in the box for 4 months because I thought, oh boy, I'll get to that. That's another thing I got to learn. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. And I think I use that thing twice a day.
yeah.
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 It's so quick, so
It's
quick
so-
and easy.
And
Yeah.
not that people eat brats, but my daughter taught me to make brats in there and it tastes like you grilled them.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Mhm.
How about
Yeah.
that? No, I've not made that in there. That's pretty cool.
okay, you're convincing me.
I have two.
Oh.
Does that mean I should get rid of the, what's that thing, that crock pot? I bought that gigantic thing and I think I use it 3
No, you
times a
can use
year.
that.
Oh, God. I know.
Oh. So was this helpful?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
It
good.
was to me.
Good. So what I'm going to do is that document I put together, I'm just going to add a few examples. I'm going to add some of the notes that I took from all of you with suggestions and things like that. For those of you that we're going to add protein grams, we'll get that out to you, as well as your calories.
Can you
And then-
email me the document?
Sure.
Can you email it to me, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank
And yeah, and always ask questions when you need something. I know we ran over tonight, but this is a really good topic and we'll talk about it again. So keep us in the loop with what you need. And the replay will be posted as soon as I get it all downloaded and all that good stuff. But let us know if you need anything. Remember, we want you to ask questions. That's how you will learn. So when we don't hear from you, Heidi and I freak out. So you don't want to freak us out. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I want you to have a great night. Stay in touch. Enjoy the rest of your evening. All right.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Have a good Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Hey,
you.
everybody.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye.